All right, welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. So we'll be on our backs. Okay, let's go with feet a little bit wider. Knees will fall together. So we want the knees to be touching. So it's a little bit more relaxing through those outer hips, through that low back. Okay, draw that low back to be flat on the mat. So engaging through that core. You start out. So we'll want to keep that core engagement throughout the rest of this practice. Just find that still, that quiet space. Just taking that big breath in through the nose and out through the nose. So even when we're breathing, we want to keep that tight core. Big expansion through that rib cage. It's even maybe a stretch for those little muscles in between those ribs. Exhaling it out, tightening that core a little bit more to press all of that air out. Just moving with that breath, or staying with that breath, just on your own. The expansion of the ribs on the inhale, a little more tightening through that core on the exhale. Good. Let's bring those knees into the chest. Let's just give it a little rock from side to side. Now bring it still. We're going to round that spine, bringing the forehead to those knees. Then we'll extend it out nice and long. So you can keep those legs lifted, shoulders lifted. If keeping the legs lifted is a little bit too much, you can always lower those legs down. Maybe keep the shoulders crunched up so we're still getting a little bit of core. You can even do the opposite. You can lower the head down and keep the legs extended. We just want big thing, keeping that low back nice and flat on the mat. So let's hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug those knees and relax that head down. Just get a little rock side to side. Okay, let's hug those knees and round through that spine. Now we'll extend those legs out again. So this time we do want to keep those legs lifted. Again, your choice if you want to keep the head down. And we're just going to do little flutter kicks. Okay, just kicking up and down. Let's go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug it back in. Give it a little break. So we're just getting right into it, warming up that core. Again, we'll round through that spine. Extend those legs out. So this time we're going to go crisscross. Okay, so side to side, crossing those legs over. Okay, there we go. And start for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press that head down. Hug those knees in. And lower those feet down, arms stay by the side. Just lifting through that tailbone first, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. As we extend out through those hip flexors, those hands can just stay down on the mat. Another breath. And go ahead and lower those hips down. Now, hug those knees in. We're going to start to rock forward and back. Get a lot of momentum here. We're going to plant those feet. We're going to come into a squat or pop those hips up. Hands down to the ground into that forward fold. So Maybe use your hands, or it might take you a couple tries to get up there. But then once you're in that fold, slide those hands up to the shins, flatten out that back, slight bend in those knees. And then exhale, slide those hands down as we fold. Just let that head hang heavy. Fix this there. And now slight bend into those knees, flatten out that back. Let's rise all the way up to standing. Reach those arms up nice and tall. You can interlace those fingers, little side bend over to the right side. Inhale it back up. Exhale it to the left. Inhale, bring it back up. Release those hands as we fold. Flatten out that back. And exhale, plant those hands down, stepping those feet back to a plank. Let's go right into a side plank. Drop the heels to the right. Left arm reaches up. We'll take that left arm, thread it under. Inhale it back up. Then come back to our front plank. Drop those heels to the left. Right arm reaches up. Thread it under. Inhale those arms back up. Or that right arm back up. Come back to our front plank. Shift that weight forward. Lower down. You can pause in that low plank or drop the hips down. Lifting through that chest. Folding the shoulders down and back. Or maybe we lift all the way up into that up dog. Let's stay here for another breath. Stretch out through those abs, to that low back. And then sending those hips up and back, downward facing dog. And now let's inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, step those feet, top of the mat. Half lift on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Bend into those knees, flatten out that back. Rise up to standing, interlacing those fingers. Side bend to the right. Inhale it back up. Exhale to the left. Inhale, bring it back up. And exhale, fold. Find that half lift. And exhale, plant those hands, step those feet back to our plank. Drop the heels to the right. Left arm reaches up. Thread that arm through. Inhale it up. Front plank, heels to the left. Right arm reaches up. Thread it through. Inhale it back up. Back to our front plank. Shift the weight forward, lower. Inhale, lift that chest up dog or cobra. And then exhale, send those hips up and back, down dog. Let's go one more time. Come onto the toes. Bend those knees. Maybe you hop those feet, top of the mat. Nice soft landing. Inhale that half lift. Exhale, fold. Bend into those knees. Flatten out that back. Rise up to standing. Interlace those fingers. Side bend to the right. Inhale, center. To the left. Inhale, center. Release those hands as we fold. Find that flat back. Exhale, plant those hands. You can maybe hop those feet back. Go right into that side plank. Thread that arm under. Inhale it back up. Front plank to the left. Right arm up. Thread. Inhale it up. Front plank. Shift it forward. Lower down. Inhale, lift that chest. Exhale, hips to the sky. Downward facing dog. Another breath. Come onto the toes. Bend those knees. Step or hop those feet wide right outside the hands. Sinking those hips down into that squat. So hands come to heart center. We're pressing those knees out. Chest is nice and tall. So those hips are a little bit tighter. You might be sitting up a little bit higher. That's okay. 3, 2, and 1. Straighten those legs. Turn those feet parallel to each other. Let's just hold for a breath or two. Bend into those knees. Let's rise up to standing. Reach it up nice and tall. Let's press those hips forward. Keep that core tight. So we don't want to be just arching through that low back. We want to press our hips forward. And then let's bring those hands to the hips. Weight's going to be on that right foot. We're going to do a little quad stretch. So draw those knees together first. We're getting in the quad stretch. We don't want that knee to flare out. And we want the knee, basically the knees are touching each other, okay? Rib cage down, tailbone down. So we're taking any arch out of that low back. Now press that foot into our hand. Extend that leg back, big stretch, maybe even up through the hip flexor, all the way down the front to the knee. Now, we don't want to feel any pulling in the knee, just nice stretch through that quad. One more breath. Now bring that knee to the chest. Pull that knee up nice and high. Ooh, balance, here we go. Extend that leg out. And then send that leg back into that warrior three, squaring those hips off. Hands maybe come to heart center, maybe reach it out long through those fingertips. And then we'll take a big step back into that crescent lunge. Back heel stays lifted, rib cage down, reaching through those fingertips. And then we'll twist. Left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. Make a T with those arms. Bend into the knees a little bit more. Now we'll reverse it. Left arm reaches up, right hand grabs onto that back hamstring. And then we'll circle the hands all the way down to the mat. Step it back to our plank. Lower down. Inhale, lift. Exhale those hips up and back. Down dog. And we'll inhale on the toes. Bend those knees. Step or hop those feet behind the hands. Sink those hips down into that squat. Good. Pressing those knees out. Chest is lifted. Maybe the hips sink a little bit lower this time around. Maybe not. That's okay too. And then we'll straighten those legs out as we fold. Just hold it here for a breath. You can walk those feet maybe a little closer together. And into those knees, flatten out that back. Let's press those hips forward as we reach those arms up and back. Then we'll bring those hands to the hips. We're gonna grab onto that foot, so into that quad stretch. Bringing those knees together first. Core tight. And we'll start to press that foot back into the hands. As we press back, try not to arch through that back. Keep that core nice and tight. One more breath. Now we'll bring that knee to the chest. And extend that leg out. And rebend that knee. Press that foot back into that warrior three. Arms are reaching forward. Big step back into that crescent lunge. So deep into that front knee. Try and keep that back leg as straight as possible. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Sometimes when we try to really lock it out, we get this big arch through that low back. We don't want that. Just like bending that back knee if you have to. Now, twisting right hand forward, left arm reaches back. And we'll reach that right hand up, left hand slides down that back leg. Then we'll circle those arms all the way down to the mat. Step it back to our plank. Lower. Inhale, lift. Exhaling those hips to the sky. Downward facing dog. Now inhale on the toes. Bend those knees. Step or hop those feet outside the hands. Sink those hips down into that chair. Back is nice and flat. Hold it here. So we don't want to be collapsed down to the lowest that we can go. I want you to be an inch or two higher so we're really active through those legs. More of an active stretch, an active hip opener, really pulling those knees out. And then we'll straighten those legs as we fold. Just hang here for a breath. And then bend into those knees, flatten out that back, rise to standing, pressing the hips forward, reach those arms up and back. And then the hands come to heart center, not these things, to your hips. And then we'll bring that foot to the hands, knees together, pressing that knee back, quad stretch. And we'll bring that knee to the chest, extend that leg out. And then send it back, warrior three. Big step back into that crescent lunge. Twisting, left hand forward, right arm reaches back. Then we'll flip that left hand up, right hand to that back hamstring. Adding on to this, reach both arms up, back heel spins down. We're gonna come into a warrior two. Now, we're gonna go to an extended side angle, but it's gonna be a little bit more core work. We're gonna keep this right hand reaching forward. Flip that palm up, okay? Now lean forward, reach it forward, okay, like you would on an extended side angle, right? With that elbow down, but instead that arm's gonna be lifted, and then we're gonna reach that left arm up and over like we're holding on to that big old beach ball core tight. Keep opening up through that chest. A lot of legs, a lot of core. One more breath. Then inhale, rise back up. Let's straighten that front leg. Flip that palm, reach it up and back. And then we'll circle those arms all the way down to the mat. Extend that leg back. Vinyasa. And exhaling, hips up and back, down dog. Inhaling on the toes. Bend those knees, step or hop those feet behind the hands. Sink those hips down into that squat. Hold it, lift again a little bit higher than that lowest part, the lowest position. And straighten those legs out as we fold. Like 2 breaths, 2 or 3 breaths. And now inhale, let's rise up to standing. Reach up tall, press those hips forward, arms back, hands to the hips, bending into that right knee, reaching for that foot. Knees will pull together, and then press that foot back. One more breath. And then bring that knee to the chest, extending that leg out. And then we'll send that leg back, reaching those arms forward, warrior 3. And then take that big step back into that crescent lunge, adding in that twist, right hand forward, left arm reaches back, and then reverse it, right hand up, left hand reaches for that hamstring. And adding on, both arms reach up, back heel, spins down, warrior 2 stance with those feet. Core is tight, the legs are really strong, arches are lifted, so we're gripping into those toes, pulling towards the middle of the foot. Now, reaching that left hand forward, start to hover that chest. Right arm is reaching up and over. So big side stretch, a lot of core. Hold it for a couple more breaths. And inhale, rise back up. Straighten that front leg, reverse it. So reaching that left arm up and back. And then we'll circle those arms all the way down to the mat. Send it back to our plank. Down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hips up. Downward facing dog. Okay, now again, let's inhale on the toes. We're gonna practice those hops a little bit. We're gonna onto the toes. Bend those knees. So we're gonna hop those feet forward, again, landing in that squat stance. So then try and get a little lift through those feet, and then nice soft landing. So we're trying to get a little bit of air time with the feet. Again, plant those hands, gonna lift the hips, and then like we're gonna jump. So then drop them down, lift, nice soft landing. So knees are out. Land kind of in that frog pose, absorb through those legs. Okay, then come to down dog, bend those knees, hop it up to that squat, so you can keep the hands down on the ground. Then here we go, bounce it back. Again, get those hips up nice and high. We're gonna go one more time, forward and back. Okay, so we come into our down dog, bend, hop it forward. Try to be as quiet as you can on that landing, and then we'll hop it back. Again, nice and soft. Straighten those legs out into that downward facing dog. And we'll go into a really quick pigeon. So we're going to bring that right knee to the right wrist. Foot comes across, slide that left leg back. Now let's do a little optional quad stretch. So we can bend into that back knee. We'll keep that left hand or elbow down and then we'll reach back for that foot. Just trying to bring that foot straight towards this your left glute. So pressing into the foot into the hand, and then pull it towards you a little bit more. And then let's lower that foot down if you had it. And then jump into that pigeon just for a few breaths. So that left knee pulls forward. Right shin is pulling back. Let's come back to those hands. Step it back to our down dog. Other side, left knee, left wrist, foot across. Slide that leg back. So again, lowering onto that right hand or right elbow as we reach that left arm back, grabbing onto that foot. And we'll press that foot into the hand, and then we'll pull that hand, or we'll pull that foot towards that glute, that hip. Another breath. And then we'll release that foot down. Go ahead and rest that head down for a moment. Pull that left shin back, right knee forward. Let's come back onto those hands. Send it back. Down dog. For a breath. Let's lower onto the knees. Come into a seat. Closing down those eyes, sitting tall. Just pause it here for 3 breaths. All right, we can open those eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow for recharge. All right, thanks. Have a good one.